Suppose the Obama administration is forced to increase taxes to pay for the cost of the health care reform in the United States. Describe the effect of such a policy according to the three business cycle models if this increase in taxes is fully anticipated by economic agents. The Obama administration is using fiscal policy to pay for the cost of the health care reform in the United States. Fiscal policy is when the government adjusts its spending levels or changes its taxation rates in order to achieve its macroeconomic goal. Contractionary fiscal policy is being used in order to increase taxes and lower government spending. This will result in a decrease of disposable income, which results in a fall in consumption, which results in a desirable fall in the price level. To decrease the price levels, the United States must use an anti-inflation policy. The real business cycle model was developed by Nobel Prize winners Edward Prescott and Finn Kydland. It is a model that assumes that all wages and prices are completely flexible. This model argues that real shocks cause fluctuation in potential output and long-run aggregate supply. The United States increases of tax results in an increase of inflation. In the real business cycle, we can see a leftward shift in the aggregate demand curve from A1 to A2 as a result of autonomous monetary tightening. This moves the economy from point 1 on the long-run aggregate supply curve to point 2 where output is unchanged, but the price level falls to pi 2. We can see from the business model that it implies an anti-inflation policy has no cost in terms of lower output. Traditional Keynesian model assumes that expectations are adaptive, meaning that expectations are formed by looking at the past and therefore change only slowly over time. The Keynesian model assumes that prices are sticky in the short run, resulting in prices to adjust slowly over time to their long-run equilibrium. This model does not believe that long-run supply shocks are a source of business cycle fluctuations. It argues that output changes rather than prices in response to economic shocks. We can see in this slide that the reduction of inflation shifts the aggregate demand curve to the left, which moves the U.S. economy straight to point 2 as it is anticipated. This results in a decrease of output and a following decrease of inflation. As we can see from the traditional Keynesian model that this policy would be costly because achieving the lower price level requires a lower level of aggregate output. The new Keynesian model assumes that firms and households have rational expectations, which is where opinions are formed based on all information available. It assumes that prices are sticky, which means they do not adjust instantaneously to changes in economic conditions, due to the assumption of imperfect competition. The new Keynesian model shows a leftward shift of the aggregate demand curve due to autonomous tightening, which moves the U.S. economy to point 2 intersection as a policy is anticipated, where output falls by less and inflation by more. However, the economy eventually moves to point 2 where inflation has fallen to pi 2. This model shows that the policy is costly in terms of loss in output. However, as the anti-inflation policy is anticipated, the cost is lower, whereas if it weren't anticipated. In conclusion, we can see that inflation always falls to the same level with each model used on the long-run aggregate supply curve. A loss in output will occur if both the new and traditional Keynesian models are used to predict the anti-inflation policy, whereas the business cycle implies that the reduction in inflation of the United States has no cost in relation to lower output. Thank you for your time.